Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive into something really cool, a framework that's been like a secret weapon for data science projects for decades. It's called CRISP-DM, and it's all about how you turn messy, complex data challenges into actual, valuable business solutions. So let's get into it.
So here's the big question, right? How do you actually turn all that data you've got into something that creates real value without getting totally lost along the way? Because let's be honest, you've got these mountains of data, but the path from that to a useful insight, it is never a straight line. It's more like a jungle path full of traps and dead ends.
And a maze. That's probably the best way to think about it. If you don't have a map, what happens? Well, your team ends up just wandering. They can spend months, sometimes years, chasing down the wrong questions, cleaning data that doesn't even matter, or building these super impressive, technically amazing models that solve zero actual business problems. They're just completely lost in the maze.
Yeah, this chaos? That's what we're calling the data science maze. It's where projects go to die, honestly. Costs go up, results don't show, and everyone gets super frustrated. But what if you had a map?
Well, good news. There is a map, and that map is CRISP-DM. Think of it as the proven structured way to bring order to that chaos and give you a clear, reliable path forward for any project that involves data.
All right, so what is this thing really? CRISP-DM, it stands for the Cross-Industry Standard Process for Data Mining. A bit of a mouthful, I know, but there are two words in there that are just absolutely critical: non-proprietary and cross-industry. What does that mean for you? It means it's totally free, it's open, and it's not locked into any specific software or company. That makes it ridiculously flexible.
And that flexibility, it leads to some huge wins. First, it's industry neutral. Doesn't matter if you're in finance, healthcare, retail, whatever. It works. It's also built for what we call iterative work. And trust me, that's its secret superpower. We'll get to that in a minute. And maybe best of all, it's easy to pick up. You could be a veteran data scientist or a business analyst just getting your feet wet. It's designed for everyone.
Okay, so how does this map actually guide us? It lays out the entire journey in 7 clear steps or phases. It'll take you all the way from that initial business idea, that little spark, to a real live solution that's out there working and being monitored.
7. That's the magic number here. 7 phases. And each one has a super clear goal and a set of things to do. They all build on each other, so you literally can't get lost.
And here's the whole roadmap laid out. You see, we start with the why, understanding the business and the data itself. Then we get into the real nitty-gritty, the technical heart of it, prepping the data and building models. And finally, we bring it home by checking our work, getting it out into the world, and then keeping an eye on it. Let's take a quick look at each part of the journey.
Okay, these first 2 steps are, well, they're everything. If you mess these up, the whole project is doomed. Seriously. Business understanding is all about asking one simple, powerful question. What are we actually trying to solve here? And this has nothing to do with code or algorithms. It's about the business goal. Only after you've nailed that down do you move to data understanding, where you start peeking at the data you have, just to see what you're dealing with.
All right, now we're heading into the engine room. This is where the heavy lifting happens. Data preparation. This is usually where you'll spend most of your time. It's the unglamorous but vital work of cleaning, formatting, and basically wrestling that raw data into a shape that a model can actually understand. Then you get to the fun part, modeling. This is where the data scientists get to play, picking and tuning different algorithms to find those hidden patterns and make predictions.
And at last, we're at the finish line. This is where all that hard work pays off. Evaluation is like the final exam. Does our model actually solve the business problem we defined way back in step 1? If yes, great, we move to deployment, which just means getting it out there so people can use it. But it doesn't stop there. And this is so important. Monitoring and maintenance means you keep watching it, making sure it stays accurate and useful, even when the real world changes.
But wait, here's the big reveal, the absolute genius of this whole framework. And the thing that so many people get wrong, it's not a straight line, it's a loop.
Think about it. A normal, linear project is super rigid, right? You go from A to B to C. If you realize you messed something up back at step A, you're in big trouble. It's a disaster. But CRISP-DM, it's built to be a cycle, an iterative loop. The different phases are meant to feed information back to the earlier ones. And that flexibility, that's what makes it so incredibly powerful.
Let me give you a perfect example of how this works. Say you're in the data understanding phase, just exploring the data, and you find something totally weird, something nobody expected. In a rigid process, that's a problem. In CrispDM, it's an opportunity. That new insight might make you go all the way back to the business understanding phase and tweak the entire goal of the project. And that's not a failure. That's the system working perfectly. It lets you learn and adapt as you go. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. This framework came out in the late 90s. The 1990s. So I know what you're thinking, and it's a totally fair question.
With all the crazy stuff we have today, big data, the cloud, ML ops, generative AI, is a framework that's older than some of the people watching this still even relevant?
The answer is a huge, emphatic yes. In fact, you could argue it's more relevant than ever. Why? Because the process is timeless, even when the tech changes. It gives you a perfect structure for things like big data projects. It provides built-in checkpoints for modern issues like checking for ethical AI and bias. It integrates beautifully with modern ML ops practices. You can even use it to structure cutting-edge stuff like building a retrieval augmented generation or RAG system, or for the process of fine-tuning those big LLMs everyone's so excited about.
And really, that's the whole point right there. The technology is always going to change. New tools, new algorithms, they pop up every year. But that fundamental challenge, turning messy, chaotic data into real measurable business value, that never changes. And CrispDM is the timeless map for that journey. It doesn't matter what tools you're using.
So I'll leave you with this one thought to chew on. Think about your own work, your own company. What's that one big, messy problem you're facing? What's the maze that everyone's stuck in? Now, imagine you had a map like this to guide you through it. What could you solve?